Hello, it is the 17th of December 2013 and I've decided to put a video together, briefly, just to say that there's some pretty active weather coming up for the UK, for the festive period. Um, on the screen right now is the ECM chart. And the links to the respective websites and what have you, I will put in the description to this page, so that you will have to read a bit of French because the website's totally in French because it's a website in France. But yes, if you can negotiate your way around, you can actually go and see these model runs yourself. And yeah, so up on the screen right now is the ECM chart and the 0 hour chart, which basically shows the situation for the that shows the chart for the 19th of December actually. That's better. I've updated it now. It was showing the wrong one there. This shows the chart for today, the 17th of December. The current situation, basically, where you can see I've got the UK here. I've got my mouse pointer working on these videos now, which makes it a lot easier. The mouse pointer was previously hidden on these videos, but I got my mouse pointer back. So there's a deep area of low pressure here to the south of Iceland at the moment. Okay, down to 965 millibars. So as you can see, there's pretty strong winds here. Closely packed isobars on the chart. You see the high area of high pressure down near the Azores. So this is going to be the first of many storms heading in towards the northwest of the UK. Met Office have got yellow warnings out at the moment for wind, particularly Scotland, Northern Ireland, to be affected by this particular storm. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run through the sequence here on the ECM chart and show as we progress through the time period. Like, for example, the 24-hour dot here is the chart for 24 hours. So you can see that this is for the 18th of December being shown here. Macready, December 18th. The low has deepened. The low has deepened to the west of the UK. Then you bring up the chart for 48 hours, and it's all the way down to 945 millibars. You see the figures here. Low is deepened to 945 millibars and is located right up towards Iceland at this point. So quite some distance from the UK. At this point, southern England and what have you isn't really going to feel the effects of that because it's too far away. And then you can see another storm system emerging over here. So this all ties in with the winter storms that they're getting in the United States at the moment. Just a succession of them. And those same weather systems are moving out across the Atlantic. And helping to fuel the Atlantic as well. Very powerful jet stream coming across the Atlantic. So you see a new one over here, over near Newfoundland. So advance the chart on. I can't remember where I was with that one. The 48-hour chart, the 72-hour chart. Another powerful storm in the mid-Atlantic. Another deep area of low pressure with the UK. In a run of quite strong sort of westerly winds at the time, but nothing too bad affecting the UK at that point. Then you look at the 96-hour chart, and you've got that deep area of low pressure again up towards Iceland. But it's such a ginormous wind field. These big depressions. So that's a very strong west-southwesterly flow across all of the UK from that, despite the fact that the centre of the low is a long way away. And then you've got the 120-hour chart, and the whole thing seems to flatten out quite a bit. Winds slacken a bit across the south. Still got a very brisk westerly wind blowing up north. Then we advance on to the 144-hour chart, and yet another developing area of low pressure here, just to the west of the UK. in the flow, all the time the flow remains strong here, southwesterlies, closely packed isobars. Now I'm going to bring up the 168 hour chart, and this area of low pressure is deepened down to 955 millibars. So I can't remember a time since I've seen such a succession of very deep low pressure systems there between Scotland and Iceland. Very deep area of low pressure. Now I bring up the 192 hour chart. Now look at this. The 192-hour chart shows the very deep low to the north of Scotland is down around about 945 millibars, with a second storm system now developing in the mid-Atlantic, already down to 950 millibars. Now this chart is actually, you see it here, Mercredi 25th December. It's Christmas Day. That is Christmas Day's chart. And you wouldn't want to be in a boat on the ocean anywhere up here. More on that in a minute, because I've got a wave model chart to show you after this. Two very deep areas of low pressure, one to the north of the UK, the other one out to the west in the mid-Atlantic. And that's a very stormy looking setup. Brisk at the time of that chart there, you see it's mostly brisk westerly winds across most of the UK, but those winds do look very strong in the far north of Scotland and the Northern Isles in particular, I would imagine. Now let's bring up the 216-hour chart. So we go from that to that. So now the previous area of low pressure that was just to the north of Scotland is here, still at 950 millibars. And the one that was in the mid-Atlantic is now here, pretty much just sitting off the west coast of Scotland, now at 940 millibars. Now take a look how tightly packed the isobars are. For the far north of Scotland, very close to the centre of that low, the winds don't appear to be too bad, quite light winds up here. But as you go further south, around the southern flank of this low, these are how tightly packed these isobars are. If this chart verifies for Boxing Day, the 26th of December, much of Ireland, the north of England, North Wales, and then a swathe all the way down through to the south coast of England. Well, looking at that chart there, you'd have to say those would be severe gale to storm force winds. And that's for Boxing Day. But considering that today is still only the 17th of December, there's still time for these charts to change. So I'm just saying that this is just a word up at the moment. If this chart verifies, it looks like Boxing Day in particular is going to be the peak of the upcoming stormy conditions to potentially affect the UK. The final chart in the sequence is a 240-hour chart. And by then, that area of low pressure is up towards Scandinavia, still at 950 millibars. And the winds are still very strong. Looks like there's some kind of secondary little feature trying to develop here, and the isobars are still tight, particularly across southern England. There's still a strong winds blowing. So, those are very interesting charts. Now have a look at this. Over to another website now. This is from their stormsurfing.com website, and they have their charts, and you can animate these, and their charts go from 0 hour, which is the present situation, all the way out to 180 hours, and these colours you see here are the wave heights for across the Atlantic Ocean. This is all the Atlantic here. So I was just going to run through the sequence. I'll run through the sequence step by step first, and then I'll just let the animation run, okay? So this is +6 hours time. Wave heights 26 to 28 feet, indicated by the red colours here. Okay, go on, 12 hours, nothing much changes in terms of the wave heights, and then you got 18 hours, you got an area of even higher waves now developing in the mid-Atlantic. This will be with the developing area of low pressure out here. Then you go to 24 hours and you've got some purple appearing in here now. Those wave heights are now beginning to get up towards 32, 34 feet. There's the 30-hour chart, and now you've got a few areas of pink colours showing up. Those are big waves. And then the 36-hour charts, these have receded a bit. These are growing up here just off the coast of Greenland. You see some darker shaded purples in here. Those wave heights are getting up towards 38 to 40 foot waves. And then you got the 42-hour chart here, and this area's expanded to the southeast of Greenland. And there's a little bit of grey appearing in here now. Those wave heights are over 40 feet high. And then you have another area of low pressure developing over here towards Newfoundland, and the wave heights are increasing. And then you've got 48 hours. The pattern progresses eastward, so these big waves over here gradually extending towards the west coast of Ireland as time goes by. And this area here is developing across the other side of the Atlantic, right? So you go to plus 54 hours in this area, big wave heights now approaching the west coast of Ireland. And this area continues to develop out here with another developing area of low pressure. And then 60 hours, big waves have arrived on the west coast of Ireland. And the other area of developing low pressure further west in the Atlantic. 66-hour chart. This is really getting going out here now. Dark grey colours here. Those are 46 to 48 foot waves developing in that dark grey area there. And at this point, even the red areas are indicating 26 to 30 foot waves, and there's a big expanse of them in the Atlantic, right across the Atlantic pretty much at this point. Big waves. Then you got the 72-hour chart. And so in addition to the dark grey, now there's some white showing up in here now. So this is even bigger waves. The white area is 48 to 50 foot waves in the mid-Atlantic, gradually heading east. And then I advance onto the 78-hour chart, and it's sort of decreased a little bit, but still heading east. And then you've got the 84-hour chart. And once again, ginormous waves are beginning to arrive on the west coast of Ireland. And then you got the 90-hour charts, and the whole pattern progresses slowly eastwards. And the 96-hour chart, and there's still grey in there, still indicating wave heights, maybe 40, 42 foot waves. And then you got the 102-hour chart, and at this point, these very large waves are around some of the western coasts of the British Isles. And then you've got the 108-hour chart, and the whole thing continues to progress eastwards. And it appears to be calming down behind, but it doesn't last very long. The 114-hour chart shows this, and you've still got really big waves going on all down the western side, particularly the western coasts, Scotland, Ireland. 120-hour chart, there's some receding of the wave heights, gradually dying down a bit. And then you've got the 126-hour chart, new area of low pressure beginning to develop near the southern tip of Greenland. Wave heights are increasing again here. And you look at the 132-hour chart, and it looks like there's another area of low pressure coming in to the west coast of Ireland. Not as deep at this point as before, but the wave heights are increasing again here. Kind of indicates where the areas of low pressure are developing, where you see the wave heights increasing. So you got another area up here. And then the 138-hour chart, that progresses up towards Scotland, and this carries on out here. The 144-hour chart, new developments out in the mid-Atlantic. The wave heights are increasing again here and here. And the 150-hour chart, here they go again. The bright colours are starting to show up. So this will be red, progressing on towards the pinkish colours. Wave heights 32 to 34 feet. Advance on to the 156-hour chart, And now we go, a deeper purple is beginning to show up. 2 areas of low pressure out here. The 162 hour chart. This one seems to be taking over this area of low pressure out here. And the pinks are in there, wave heights 36 to 38 feet within the pink areas. And then the 168 hour chart shows something developing here. It's kind of difficult to make out. I can zoom this in a bit and get a better idea. It pixelates a little bit, but I can zoom in, try and get some more detail. Well, definitely some. I'm not sure what's happening with these colourings here, but pinks showing up, and with the system out here as well, pinks showing up. But the thing with zooming in is I lose the scale. Oh, you can zoom in even more. I didn't realise that. But then you lose the scale at the bottom of the screen. So, yeah, big waves going on in these two areas here. And then we're getting towards the end of the sequence here. The 174 hour chart then shows big waves going on near the west coast of Ireland and the west coast of Scotland. And this shows up as a very intense area out here. You can tell from the sort of symmetrical nature of it. And then the 180 hour chart shows that, which is once again big waves. So I'm going to go ahead and play the animation sequence now, and what you'll see, this is the autoplay sequence. So just let it run through the loop. So you can clearly see from that shot, and it's obviously what this chart shows. It's not the depressions themselves, it shows the wave model North Atlantic sea heights being modelled. But it gives a good indication of where the areas of low pressure are going to develop. And what this sequence shows here is that for the next 180 hours, it's just a succession of deep depressions coming across the Atlantic to affect the United Kingdom. Well, you see how often those wave heights are big by using the colour chart down the bottom. You can see that for a lot of the time the seas are absolutely mountainous out there. And going back to this chart here, which shows Boxing Day. Oh my goodness. I will release further updates as necessary in the days and weeks ahead to keep updated with any potential big winter storms that could potentially, if these charts are anything to go by, it looks a distinct possibility that there's going to be some pretty darn stormy weather for the festive period. So, I think that'll just about do it for now, so I will leave you with a last look at the sea height charts for the coming 180 hours or so. And I'll see you in the next video.